everyone. I welcome you all to today's Focus of the Day session. Today we are going to talk about NITI Aayog's Governing Council because recently its meeting has been convened by Prime Minister. We shall be covering this particular topic in the following sequence. We shall be knowing about the news followed by the details of the NITI Aayog Governing Council and the NITI Aayog itself. And then we shall look at the prelims and mains based practice question for your practice. So let's get started. Why it is in news? The 7th Governing Council meeting of NITI Aayog was scheduled on 7th of August 2022. The Prime Minister chaired the meeting at Rashtrapati Bhavan, culturalcentre, New Delhi. This was the first physical meeting of Governing Council since the onset of the pandemic, with the 2021 meeting held via video conferencing. The meeting was attended by 23 chief ministers, 3 lieutenant governors and 2 administrators and union ministers. The meeting was moderated by Defence Minister Shri Rajnathsingh. The objective of the council is to increase collaboration and cooperation between the union and the states or union territories. So this particular meeting or this particular organization that NITI Aayog is all about federalism. This year, the Governing Council discussed 4 key agenda items. Number 1, crop diversification and achieving self-sufficiency in pulses, oilseeds and other agricultural commodities. Number 2, implementation of national education policy in the school education. Number 3, implementation of national education policy in higher education. And number 4, urban governance. So, let's know about NITI Aayog's Governing Council. It is the premier body trusted with developing a shared vision of national priorities and strategies with the active involvement of states and union territories. It is a platform to discuss inter-sectoral, inter-departmental and federal issues. It comprises of the Prime Minister of India, Chief Ministers of all the states and union territories with the legislature, Lieutenant Governor of other union territories, ex officio members, Vice Chairman, NITI Aayog, full-time members, NITI Aayog, Union Minister as special invitees. And this year, it was Rajnathsingh who was moderating the meeting. Now let's know more about NITI Aayog itself. So the Planning Commission, inspired by the USSR or Soviet model, was established by the then Prime Minister in 1950. Who was the Prime Minister of India in 1950? Jawaharlal Nehru. And he was a socialist by inclination. And the Planning Commission used to design 5-year plans in India. In 2015, it was replaced by a new organization named National Institution for Transforming India, that is NITI, abbreviated as NITI. The composition of NITI Aayog is as follows. The chairperson of NITI Aayog is Prime Minister himself. Then there is a Governing Council, which we have recently checked out all the details regarding the same. There are regional councils as well under NITI Aayog, which are formed on need basis and incorporates chief ministers and lieutenant governors of any particular region. Thereafter, there are members on full-time basis and part-time members are also there, but maximum 2, and have rotational terms from various relevant institutions. The ex officio members are maximum 4 from Council of Ministers, which are nominated by Prime Minister. But this year, there were only 2 union ministers participating. Special invitees are also there in the NITI Aayog, who are generally experts, specialists, practitioners with domain knowledge. Then the Chief Officer or CEO of NITI Aayog is appointed by the Prime Minister and he has a fixed tenure. Thereafter, there is a secretariat that could be created for NITI Aayog if necessary. Such is the composition of NITI Aayog. The objectives of formation of Niti Aayog and replacing the Planning Commission were as follows. The active participation of states in the light of national objectives and to provide a framework national agenda, to promote cooperative federalism through well-ordered support initiatives and mechanisms with the states on uninterrupted basis, to construct methods to formulate a reliable strategy at village level and aggregate these gradually at higher levels of government. So, Planning Commission used to follow trickle-down approach while Niti Aayog was formed to follow the bottom-up approach. An economic policy that incorporates national security interests, to pay special consideration to sections of society that may be at risk of not profiting satisfactorily from economic progress, to propose strategic and long-term policy and program frameworks and initiatives and review their progress and their effectiveness, to grant advice and encourage partnerships between important stakeholders and national international think tanks as well as educational and policy research institutions, to generate knowledge, innovation and entrepreneurial support system through a shared community of national and international experts, etc. Of course, the objectives do tell us how Niti Aayog is contributing towards really transforming India. To provide a platform for resolution of intersectoral and interdepartmental issues, to speed up the accomplishment of progressive agenda, to preserve a state-of-art resource center, be a repository of research on good governance and best practices in sustainable and equitable development, as well as help their distribution to participants, to effectively screen and assess the implementation of programs and initiatives, including the identification of the needed resources to strengthen the likelihood of success, to pay attention to technology, improvement and capacity building for the discharge of programs and initiatives, to undertake other necessary activities to implementation of the national development agenda and the objectives. So, Niti Aayog is basically based on 7 pillars, although I have taken you through the objectives in detail, but to summarize those, please look at these. Niti Aayog is pro-people. It fulfills the aspirations of society as well as individuals. Then it is pro-activity, as it is an anticipation of the response to citizens' need. Niti Aayog looks forward to participation and involvement of citizenry. It is empowering, especially women in all the aspects. It looks after the inclusion of all, specifically scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, other backward classes, minorities, Garib, Gaon and Kisan. Niti Aayog is striving for equality of opportunity for the youth and ensures transparency in making government visible and responsive. The functions of Niti Aayog are to foster cooperative federalism, monitoring and evaluation, act as a resource center and knowledge hub, design policy and program framework. Niti Aayog regularly organizes seminars, workshops and conferences. Niti initiated Atal Innovation Mission to help startups. Niti is developing the national program on artificial intelligence. Niti's approach is modernized, forward-looking and less bureaucratic. Niti Aayog plays an important role as think tank for economic growth, human development and good governance in India. So this was about Niti Aayog, its governing council and the meeting. Now let's look at the prelims based practice question. Which of the following are true regarding committee to examine and promote the use of digital payment system constituted by Niti Aayog? Number 1, it consists of chief ministers of all states or UTs. Number 2, committee will also include vice chairman of Niti Aayog. Your options are A, one only, B. 2 only, C. both 1 and 2, and D. neither 1 nor 2. The answer is B here. Let me tell you a specific elimination trick. The statement 1, where the chief ministers of all states and UTs are being included, is an extreme statement in itself because of the usage of the word all, and also if there is going to be a committee, it is supposed to be of minimum members so that it could work in a swift and coordinated manner. And a larger size body could really hamper the speed of the work and also sometimes the efficiency and coordination. That's why as a larger body, Niti Aayog is already there. So if it has to form a committee, it is going to form comparatively a smaller size committee or organization for any specific work. So that's why the first statement, even on the basis of common sense, stands false. So the answer is only 2, that is B. Now let's look at the means practice question. Niti Aayog is an action tank than just a think tank. Critically examine. You need to answer this particular question in 250 words and send in your answers to us on WhatsApp to get them reviewed. This is it for today. I shall see you again tomorrow. Till then, take care. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining in.